Today we start with chapter number 6, that is life processes. Now life means any plants and animals, they are showing life. Life means we are moving, we are taking in food, we are taking in air, we are respiring. All this shows that we are having life. So plants and animals, their life can be shown by the different movements they make. They grow, they take in food, water, air, they respond to any stimuli, they respire, they reproduce. These are all the properties of plants and animals, and of course us human beings, we are all living. Now the different processes that take place in our body, they are nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion, movement, all these processes, because we are made up of many cells. When these cells comes together, they form tissues, and the tissues come together to form organs, and many of the organs, they are coming together to form a particular system. For example, this is the digestive system. So to form so many cells, so to give the nutrition to so many cells, naturally there is requirement of a particular organ which has specific functions to work in a specific manner. So today we are going to consider nutrition. Now in nutrition, you should know that every organism, it needs food, and food, it is acting as a fuel, means it is giving us energy. What is fuel? Anything that gives us energy is called as a fuel. Okay. Now nutrition may be of two types. One is autotrophic nutrition and other is heterotrophic nutrition. Now autotrophic nutrition means, for example, plants can prepare their own food. They do not depend on anything for their food. Such organisms, they are called autotrophic organisms, or plants, they are said to be autotrophs. And heterotrophs, we are depending on plants and other animals for our food, therefore we are heterotrophs. So those which depend on others for their food, they are said to be heterotrophs. So remember, depending on the modes of nutrition, organisms, they are divided into two types, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Now why plants are autotrophic? Some bacteria and plants, all the green plants, they are generally autotrophic. Autotrophic means they are preparing their own food. They are preparing their own food because they are undergoing photosynthesis. Means they are taking inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water from the atmosphere, and they are having themselves, in their leaves, they are having a green pigment which is called chlorophyll, and then in the presence of sunlight, they are preparing their own food with the help of a special process which is known as photosynthesis. So this carbon dioxide and water, they are coming together in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight to form glucose. Oxygen is given out and water is given out in the form of transpiration. So this glucose which is prepared, it is then converted into starch. Okay, so the molecules of glucose, when they come together, they are forming a polysaccharide which is called as starch. So in this way, all the plants, green plants, they are preparing their own food. They are giving this food which is prepared in the leaves to the different parts of the body also. So this process of preparing their own food is called what? Photosynthesis. Okay, so remember, there are four different ingredients which are used for photosynthesis. One, they need carbon dioxide. Second, they need water. Third, they already have chlorophyll, which are chloroplast in their cells. And fourth, unless they have sunlight, means energy from the solar sunlight is used for photosynthesis. Okay, so in this way, photosynthesis is a process which takes place with four ingredients. Now, how photosynthesis takes place? Now all the cells of this plant, they have got very small holes, and in these holes they are called stomata. So these stomata, when they are open, they have got some guard cells. When water goes into the guard cell, this guard cell, it swells, and when the guard cell swells, this carbon dioxide from the air, it is taken inside by the plant. So this is how the stomata swells, and if the swelling remains forever, this may lose water. This plant may lose water. So to avoid the loss of water, this stomata constricts, and when the water is removed, then this stomata shrinks and the hole is closed, and therefore this plant, then it cannot remove water by transpiration. So this is how the stomata, they are small holes in the leaves from which this plant it is taking in carbon dioxide. So you should know that these cells, they are containing chloroplast, and these chloroplasts, when they are swelling, they are taking in carbon dioxide, and then when they shrink, they are in the shrinking position, then they cannot take in carbon dioxide. So that is how this gas exchange takes place when with the help of stomata, which is present in the leaves of the green plants. Now the other organisms which are heterotrophic in nature. Heterotrophic means they cannot prepare their own food. They have to take food from the outside. Such organisms, they are said to be heterotrophs. Now these heterotrophs, they are broadly divided into three types. Some are saprophytes. Saprophytic means those which depend on dead organisms or dead material for their food. For example, you must have seen fungus, mold growing on bread. So those fungi or those mold, they are saprophytic. Why? Because they are depending on dead material for their growth. Second, parasites. Parasites means they depend on other particular organisms, living organisms for their growth. For example, they are taking, for example, you know, cuscuta. It is a plant which is taking food from other plants, or you know, roundworms which live in our body, human body, and they are taking nutrition from our body. So that which depends on others' body for their food, such are known as parasites. And the third are holozoid. Holozoid means they take solid intake of food. Such holozoid, for example, we are taking in food, or animals are also taking in food in the form of bolus. So those animals, they are said to be holozoic. Now this solid intake of food means the holozoic animals. These holozoic animals may be of three types. Some are herbivorous. Herbivorous means those which are dependent only on plants for their food, green plants for their food, such as said to be herbivorous. For example, goats, cows, all these are dependent on plants or grasses for their food. They are said to be herbivorous. Then some animals, they are carnivorous, means they eat the flesh or meat of other animals. They are said to be carnivorous. Lions, tigers, all this, they are carnivorous. And we are omnivorous, means we can depend on plants, or we are also taking meat, means we are herbivorous and carnivorous. So together you call us what? Omnivorous. Omnivorous means we are taking in plants and also meat, that is animals. So man is said to be omnivorous. Okay, so in this way these are heterotrophs. Now when we are taking in food, we are using that food as a fuel, and that is what is bringing us nutrition. Nutrition means the carbohydrates, protein, fats, vitamins, minerals, water, whatever we are taking in as food, that is undergoing nutrition. Nutrition means it is giving us energy. Okay. Now when you consider nutrition, you have to consider the digestive system. Now coming to the digestive system of man, we are taking in food. There is the primary stages, ingestion. Ingestion means when we are taking in food through the buccal cavity or through the mouth. Our teeth, they are chewing the food. Our tongue, it is circulating that food in the mouth, and it is mixing it with the saliva. Means your mouth is having salivary glands, and this salivary glands, it contains a particular enzyme which is called amylase. Means when you are chewing carbohydrates, these carbohydrates are digested into glucose with the help of that amylase, which is produced in the salivary glands. And slowly that saliva, when it is mixing with the food, we are churning that food into smaller pieces, and these bolus then, they are then coming down through this alimentary canal. When it is coming down through this esophagus, which is known as the food pipe. When the food pipe, it is continuously having expansion and contraction, that is peristaltic movements are there. Because of this, that food, it is moving forward. Now when the peristaltic movements are continuous, then this food from the mouth, it comes into the esophagus, that is the food pipe, and then it moves into the stomach. Now this stomach, it is a J-shaped organ which accumulates all the food which we have eaten, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, whatever we have taken it as food, they are coming in this J-shaped stomach. Now this stomach, it is present on the left hand side of our abdomen, and this stomach, it is secreting hydrochloric acid, that is HCl. With that hydrochloric acid, it is secreting pepsin. Pepsin, it is a enzyme which digests proteins, and moreover with that pepsin there is some mucus. Why mucus? Because this mucus, it will be deposited on the sides of the stomach. Why? Because if hydrochloric acid direct comes in contact with the stomach, what will happen? There will be ulcers in the stomach. Why? Because that HCl, that hydrochloric acid, it will react with the very sensitive cells of the stomach. So to avoid that, mucus is given out, pepsin is digesting the proteins, and hydrochloric acid is making that food digestive. Okay, means it is making acidic. Why? Because for digestion that acidic medium is necessary. Here the food remains for nearly 3 to 4 hours and it is churned. Continuous peristaltic movements are going on, and these peristaltic movements, they are churning that food. Now when the food is churned into very small pieces, then it comes into the small intestine. When it comes into the small intestine, there is a sphincter through which the food from the stomach, it enters into the small intestine. In the small intestine, there are two secretions. One is from the pancreas and the second is from the liver. From the liver, the bile duct, it is first goes into the gallbladder. From the gallbladder, that bile, it is secreted into the small intestine. And the pancreas, it is secreting three enzymes. One is amylase, which digests the carbohydrates. The second is trypsin, which digests the proteins. And the third is lipase, means which is digesting the lipids, that is the fats. So carbohydrates, proteins, fats, all are digested by what? The pancreas. The pancreatic juice, which is given out by the pancreas. Okay, and then this liver, it stores the bile, and this bile, it is alkaline in nature. Why? Because the food coming from the stomach, it was acidic. Now because it was acidic, it is made to be alkaline with the help of this bile, and this bile also breaks the bigger molecules of the fats. Okay, so those bigger molecules, they are converted into smaller molecules, means the fats are broken. Naturally, it will become easier for the pancreatic juice now to digest all the carbohydrates and proteins and fats. Now this small intestine, it has got small villi, small outcomings, due to which this digested food, it is absorbed, maximum food is absorbed by this small intestine. So that is called absorption. Maximum absorption is done by the small intestine with the help of all the pancreatic juices and the bile, which is given out by the liver. So this liver, it secretes the bile, which is secreted, which is stored in the gallbladder, and from the gallbladder it is given out into the small intestine. Now after the small intestine, the food moves into the large intestine. This large intestine also has a large number of villi, and this villi, it absorbs the maximum water, means that undigested food now removes all the water, and the excess food which is undigested, okay, which does not need further digestion, that is ejected out through the anus. So this is how the digestive system is working, from the mouth to the anus, means from the mouth it is moving to the esophagus. After the esophagus, it is moving to the stomach, then the small intestine, which is the main work of digestion, it is done in the stomach and the small intestine. In the large intestine, the fluids, the watery part is all absorbed, okay, and the remaining undigested food, it is giving out through the anus, that is, it is excreted, it is defecated. That you call the egestion. Okay, so this is how the nutrition of a body takes place in our digestive system. Okay, now in short, if you want to if you want to say what is nutrition, it is ingestion. First, you ingest it through the mouth. Second is digestion, means the digestion starting from the mouth itself, because the saliva is having amylase, which is digesting the carbohydrates. In the stomach, there is HCl, there is pepsin and mucus secretion also, which is making the food acidic. From that, it is going into the small intestine. In the small intestine, the bile secretions, the pancreatic secretions, all are digesting the food. There, in the small intestine comes absorption. Then assimilation. Assimilation means all the blood vessels which are related to that digestive system there. The blood takes all the digested material which is ingested by us, and then there is egestion, means unwanted food, unwanted waste material from that food, it is moves out of the body, that is called egestion or that is called defecation. So this is how our nutrition takes place when we are taking in food. This is how it is moving through our digestive system. Okay. Now when we are taking food in, for example, if you are taking in food, we are eating some sweet material. When you are eating that sweet material, all our teeth, they are chewing that food. When they are chewing that food, what happens that the outermost covering of the teeth, it is called enamel. This enamel, it is the hardest substance. It is even harder than the bone. Below that enamel, there is dentine. And if this dentine if the enamel is broken, the food goes naturally to the dentine, and if the dentine is also broken, then what happens? These bacteria, they work on the inner pulp cavity, means the inner nerves and whatever is present inside the blood vessels. These blood vessels are attacked, means the teeth then develop cavities, and these are called dental caries. Means if you are not cleaning your teeth properly, then the bacteria which is present in the mouth, they produce acid, and because of the production of that acid, your enamel, your dentine is damaged and your teeth develop caries. And what are these dental caries? They are the formation of small cavities. Cavities means they are the formation of small holes in the teeth due to the acid forming bacteria, and this is due to what? The improper dental care. So if you don't take proper care of your teeth, it leads to what? Dental caries. Okay, so that toothache, it is because of these dental caries that are developed in your mouth. So there is a need you brush your teeth properly every day after eating your food. Okay, so this is all about nutrition. So you need to know that nutrition. In the nutrition, you should be able to draw a neat label diagram of the digestive system, and you should know the function of each and every part of the digestive system. Moreover, you should be able to define what are saprophytes, what are parasites, what are holozoic animals, then what are herbivores, what are carnivores, what are omnivores. Okay, and basically you should know what is photosynthesis. Okay, so this is all about nutrition.